Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. You guys can take your coats off if you want. Leave your umbrella there. And leave your umbrella too.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am?
During the refreshments, we encourage you guys to join us in the main prayer.
Did you guys hear the announcement?
Providence?
To your left, so I encourage you guys to join us here.
As long as it is
I'm Mary. I can walk you up to get a name tag and we can get you started.
excellent, thank you.
You can just follow. Okay.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay, I don't like it.
See, it's coming up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
आप तस्वीर को छोड़े, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे आज के इवेंट के मुताबिक?
अगर उन लोग कुछ बोले तो बोलो, कोई दिक्कत है ना, बहुत से बोलने वाले बहुत हैं।
नहीं, just a story different.
Yeah.
Because this is what international.
Yeah, I can say. Yeah, you can say.
Just say what's going on here today.
He's finishing the picture. And what's your name?
My name is Syed Khalilullah. I'm from Urdu Time, Chicago.
Okay, yeah, I would say yeah.
एक मिनट इधर ही फेस करिएगा और
My name is Mir Hamid Ali Khan and I am speaking here at ISNS, Rolling Meadows, Illinois, from the center, Islamic Society of Northwest Suburbs. And this center existing for more than 35 years. And I was an ex-president too here in 1999 and 2000. And today we invited our neighbors in the form of Open Mosque Day. And these are the neighbors, non-Muslims, Christian, Jews and others. So we will have a couple hours program and we have a main speaker going to speak on this. His name is Dr. Sabir.
Thank you.
तो इसमें हमारे ग्रेट डॉक्टर साहब का भी ले ली छोटा एक क्लिप हमको बोल के प्रिपेयर कर दो। I'm Mir Hamid Ali Khan, introducing Dr. Khalid Abdusami, who is serving the community for more than 50 years in America as a physician, MD, and he is also now active in the interfaith here at ISNS and another masjid. So he is going to speak a few words.
Well, I'm very glad that we have arranged this function. It's important that we build the bridges. It's important that we build the bridges. Fear of unknown is the one that separates the people. When the people come here and look what Muslims are alleviated. That's what we need to do in this community so that the Americans get to know Muslims, and then they get to know the character of the Muslims and their faith, Islam. I'm very grateful to all these people who have come here to understand Islam and what we stand for. Thank you very much.
मेरा नाम ठाकुर बसादी है and I live in Palatine. I'm so happy to be here. Actually, मुझे तो और भी इसकी खुशी होती है कि मैं जिस mosque started, I used to have a store in Palatine, पंजाब के, और मेरे पास से यहाँ से सामान आता था रमज़ान के दिनों में। थोड़ा दुख भी होता था जब कहते थे यार थोड़ा खुल के जम के ज़रा बताओ कि हमारी mosque है यहाँ, तो लेकिन वो ताहिर भाई थे मेरे दोस्त और हुसैन भाई थे, तो वो कहते थे यार थोड़ा ये जो माहौल है इसमें थोड़ा दिखाने का जरूरत नहीं है। But I'm so happy that you guys did an open house. अभी पिछले वीक हमारी राजा कृष्णमूर्ति से बात हुई थी और उसने बोला कि जितने भी रिलीजियस प्लेस हैं उनको चाहिए कि ओपन हाउस करें, और उसने ये भी कहा कि I will bring people to you. So next time you do it, please let us know and we will bring more people. We need to educate all these surroundings. Thank you.
Half the day is really fun. So yeah. It's just the first 2 years after college.
Is that someone? Right. Hey, I'm here.
Give me a second. Can you take this picture for me? I know it's hard. That's the press.
That must be star crowd or something.
with peace, I welcome all of you guys to the Islamic Society of Northwest Suburbs Open House. I'm going to be your host today. I'm Nabila Sayed. I'm a high school senior. I attend William Front High School, which is just down the street. And as much as I know all of you guys want to know more about me, I'll begin the event. So before we start, I want to make sure that you guys have 2 sheets of paper. One, you should have the questions or comments sheet, which also has a QR code on the bottom, and text sheet. So anytime throughout the program, if you have any questions you want to ask, please feel free to either scan the QR code and submit it to the form we have, or you can write down on the sheet your question and we will be collecting them later before our Q&A session. We want to begin this program by the recitation of the Quran, which is our holy book. We're going to have 2 young special guests read Surah Maryam. It is taken from the story of Mary, the mother of Jesus, or in Arabic, Isa alayhi salam. Amran to recite Surah Maryam and Sophia to read the translation. Kamran Javed and Sufia Shazia Khan are both middle school students, residents of Palatine, and both attend schools in District 15, and also the evening school. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قولوا آمنا بالله وما أنزل إلينا وما أنزل إلى إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق ويعقوب والأسباط وما أوتي موسى وعيسى وما أوتي النبيون من ربهم لا نفرق بين أحد منهم مسلمون.
Say, O Muslims, we believe in Allah and in what has been revealed to us and in what has been revealed to Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, and his children, and in what has been given to Moses and Jesus, prophets from their Lord. We make no difference between any of them, and to him we submit ourselves.
بسم الله الرحمن واذكر في الكتاب مريم إذا انتبذت من أهلها مكانا شرقيا فاتخذت من دونهم حجابا فأرسلنا إليها روحنا فتمثل لها بشرا سويا قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا.
And mention in the book the story of Mary when she secluded herself from her people to a place towards east. Then she used a barrier to hide herself from them. Then we sent to her our spirit, Gabriel, and he took before her the form of a perfect human being. She said, I seek refuge with the all-merciful Allah against you if you are...
قال إنما أنا رسول ربك لأهب لك غلاما زكيا قالت أنى يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر ولم أك بغيا قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين ولنجعله آية للناس ورحمة منا وكان أمرا مقضيا.
He said, I am but a message bearer of your Lord sent to give you a boy purified. She said, how shall I have a boy while no human has ever touched me nor have I ever been unchaste? He said, so it is, your Lord said. It is easy for me and we will do this so that we make it a sign for people and a mercy from us, and this is a matter already distant.
فأتت به قومها تحمله قالوا يا مريم لقد جئت شيئا فريا يا أخت كان أبوك امرأ سوء وما كانت أمك بغيا فأشارت إليه قالوا كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا.
Then she came to her people carrying him, the baby. They said, O Mary, you have committed something grave indeed. O sister of Aaron, neither your father was a man of evil, nor was your mother unchaste. So she pointed towards him. They said, how shall we speak to someone who is still a child in the cradle? Spoke he, "Verily I am the servant of Allah. He has given me the book and made me a prophet."
ما كان لله أن يتخذ من ولد سبحانه إذا قضى أمرا فإنما يقول له كن فيكون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
It is not for Allah to have a son. Pure is He. When He decides a thing, He simply says to it, "Be," and it comes to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamran and Sophia, for that. I also want to take this time to thank all of you guys for taking the time out of your day to come to this mosque to learn more about Islam, or learn about this mosque and learn more about your Muslim neighbors, like me. And to give you more of a background about this mosque, I would like to invite Brother Zilay Khan. Brother Zilay Khan has worked for local governments for over 20 years and is now serving on the Village of Buffalo Grove Planning and Zoning Commission. Most importantly, for the purposes of this event, he's a very, very prominent member of the Islamic Society of Northwest Suburbs community and has many advisory roles for ISNS. So, Brother.
Thank you, Nabila. If you had not mentioned my name, I would not have known that you were talking about me. Generous introduction, but I believe that's what I wrote it for myself and gave it to you. So. Before I start, I am looking for all my young friends who are like the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th grader, because they are the one who hated iPhone, i6 plus, 7 minus, 9.5 plus minus, because I want them to take a lot of my pictures, and my picture should go spiral. And by 9 o'clock news, it should have at least 1 million hits. Talking about, though I have just heard about this, because I don't have a YouTube account or the FaceTube account or any kind of account. This is what I hear among when I spend the time. So with all the joking aside, I like to acknowledge a few people in the guests. I like to acknowledge every one of them, but I have been given a very hard job and only 9.5 minutes to finish. So I will just acknowledge a few of the people. First of all, our Mayor-elect, Len Prena. I saw him just a little while ago. He just left. He just left, but he was in the audience. Jerry Hill, he's the Alderman-elect. Jerry, right there. Another Alderman-elect, Joe Gallo. I'm not sure if he's here. I also saw walking through those doors our former mayor, Ken Nelson, who is our friend for a long time. Ken, right there. Thank you so much for coming. It's raining, but we really appreciate your time. You're a very busy man with lots of multiple assignments. This is the gentleman who took those under his leadership to the next level. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I have a long list of 4 or 5 pages here with all the rabbis and the pastors that are here. So I just want to acknowledge all of them. If you are in the audience, if you can just get up if you are a pastor or the rabbi here. Very good. Thank you all for coming. Now I'm going to get to the program here. ISNS was established in 1984 when I was in a junior high. In whose basement that started it, but I know when I finished my one graduate school at the East Coast and I was going to the Kansas City, Missouri in 1985, I dropped by the center here. So no, I was not in the junior high. Okay. So anyway, 1986, we purchased a building 2 doors from here going west, 3890, as our first center in the city of Rolling Meadows. And we stayed there for 20 years from 1985 to 2005. some of the limited activities we did over there is our 5-time prayer, which is very essential for all the Muslims. So the first one starts before the sunrise, then in the afternoon, and then in the evening, and then after the sunset is the 4th one, and just before you go to sleep is the 5th one. So we were those 5 prayers over there. Also the Ramadan and Sunday school. My 2 daughters, who are now 21 and 23, started in their school, and they still complain today that how come we stayed in the same grade for 3 years? Even though we did all the assignments, we passed all the classes, but we were in a second A, second B, second. Thanks God, we purchased this building here in 2005. We renovated this building because that was getting really small. It was only a 5,000 square foot building. We used to sit on top of each other over there. That's how limited the space was over there. So we purchased this building in 2005. This is a 15,000 square foot building. We still hold the 5 daily prayers. Ramadan Taraweeh is here, which is after you open your fast at sunset, you come to the masjid again and do your extra prayer. 2 biggest items that I want to mention here that we do is our Friday prayer, which is middle of the day. It's not easy because some of us get a 30 minutes lunch, so you have to leave your place, you have to come here, perform the prayers, and leave. So there's about 500 people that comes every Friday around 1:30 to 2:30-ish, and 350 in the first prayer, 150 in the second. So that's one thing. And then our weekend school is very popular. Saturday we have about 50 students that attend the Islamic school here that starts at 9 in the morning and then the Sunday one is very, very popular. This has about 250 students in that school. My both daughters school, and they still complain to me and my wife that growing up with our parents, we never had a weekend in this house. We always had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning because my wife and I put them into Indian culture to learn the Indian culture on Saturday, and then bring them here on Sunday. So it was all by design. so that they do not watch the Indian movie until 2 a.m. on a Friday night in a Saturday morning. They had to hit the bed by 10 o'clock, 8 hours sleep. 7 o'clock, Dad will have the breakfast ready on the table and eat, and then come to the school. So Sunday school is very, very, very popular. 250. So some of the activities that we perform here right now are, and I'm just gonna get to that page so that I don't miss out most of them, are the Friday prayers, memorization of the Quran. We also conduct the ACT and SAT coaching classes here. When my daughters were really young, we started that, so it's been continuing since that time. A food and clothing drive, adult education session. What that means is when the kids are in the Sunday school at 9 o'clock, we hold the classes for the parents on different topics. For example, this Sunday we will have a lecture under the adult education series by a chaplain from Loyola University, and he's going to share that when your 18-year-old son and a daughter comes to the school, what kind of a pressure they go through. So that's as an example. That falls under the adult education program. Community volunteering it once a year, a couple of times in a year, we will go and clean up the forest preserve with the synagogue, people from the synagogue, the people from the other churches. We team up together. Parent-teacher conference. We have also purchased a cemetery in Elgin, so where somebody passed away, we take them over there. this place is getting now small. It's a 15,000. So we also had purchased another building next door, which is 45. You must have noticed something that I only talk about 5,000, a multiplication of 3 that becomes 15,000, and then a multiplication of 3 becomes 45,000. I just like those numbers, but then happy to be the right amount. Okay, so that's the layout of this building here. We are sitting in the men's area right now. So our men's pray in this hall, and then we have the prayer hall just behind those glasses over there. That's where our sisters they pray. So we have a little bit of a separation between the prayer place. So men's prayer, and then the Sunday school is back over there. I think I'm reaching my 9.5 minutes here, so I will conclude here. And thanks for coming. Nice seeing you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Zilebhai. I was not part of the program here, but a couple of quick. Okay. And then State Representative, District 56, Michelle Musman, the mom with mission, and the Iron Lady of Shabbat District 56.
Once again, thank you, Brother Zillah Khan, for that. Once they invent FaceTube, I will let you know. I'll make sure you go viral. And now I'm going to invite Dr. Sabeel Ahmed to speak more specifically about Open Mosque Day. Dr. Sabeel Ahmed is the Executive Director of the Gain Peace Project, an outreach project of the Islamic Circle of North America, also known as ISNA. As a Director of Gain Peace, Dr. Sabeel aims to build bridges between people of various faiths, races, and nationalities, and share the beautiful faith of Islam with our fellow Americans. Gain Peace conducts many outreach-oriented projects in Chicago and many cities to educate people about the authentic teachings of Islam. He's currently serving as the president of ISNA Chicago. He has been featured in New York Times, Fox News, WLS, and other media outlets. He is married with 3 children and resides with his family in Morton Grove, Illinois. So clearly, while being a very, very busy man, thank you, Dr. Sabeel, for taking the time out to come out here today.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I start in the name of God, the most beneficent and merciful, and welcome and greet all of you with the Islamic greeting of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That means may God's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon each single one of you. You know, so many people, first time I'm seeing here, so many neighbors. Is it fair to say that today we have 1.5 million people here? Come on. More than that? Okay. Use this mic, by the way. Right, with that being said, I was... Clip it on, okay. One second. All right, with that being said, I was born and raised in India. And being born and raised in India, we used to watch a lot of Hollywood movies, all right? And my only perception about our fellow Americans is that every single one of you, you look like him. All right? And you all carry weapons and you shoot each other out, all right? That's the perception that was given to me by watching the media. But after coming here and socializing with the wonderful, peaceful fellow Americans, our neighbors, I realized that they're just like me, my family. That's okay, it's too heavy for me. So I realized that, you know, they're just like me, peaceful Americans, right? So it's so important for us to have these kind of gatherings where we talk to each other, where we socialize with each other. And a big lesson which I learned was that do not judge America by the Hollywood, all right? And do not judge the world by the fake news, and definitely do not judge the Muslims by the Fox News. the times that we are going through, these are really tough times for some of us, especially those who are minorities. When we see a 67% spike in the hate crimes against Muslims, I mean, obviously our adults are getting affected, but even our young ones are getting humongously affected, believe me. So I live in Skokie, and when I left to drop off my kids, my 4-year-old and 7-year-old, I found out that the teacher gave them an assignment, that what do you dream for the world? And people, they wrote down in these papers that I dream that there would not be any poverty, there would not be any racism, people would be friendly, right? But many kids, actually, they wrote down this, that I have a dream that one day my family would be safe. So people are affected. Muslims, I cannot say we're not paranoid, but we're overly conscious. So when we see our wonderful neighbors coming here to socialize and meet the Muslims and to support us, it means a lot to us. So on behalf of all the Muslims, we would like to give a big round of applause to each single one of you for coming here. Thank you. Now, it's so important for us. These are some of the rallies that we are having, right? All over Chicago, all over the US. For people coming for solidarity. You know, in Morton Grove, close to 1,500 people came to that mosque to stand with the Muslims and support the Muslims. So in these gatherings, people, they always ask that, you know, what more can we do besides coming together and having wonderful food? By the way, how was the food? Yeah, come on. Good. That's a big round of applause to all the volunteers, especially the ladies who make the wonderful food, right? So often a question is asked that what more can we do for especially our Muslim neighbors? There are a list of items that you can take home from today. By the way, I'm not done with my speech yet. I still have, 20 more minutes to go? But I want to make this really important point. There are some things that you can do, I can do, and you can do as our Muslim neighbors. Well, first and foremost, if you see that if anyone's rights is being trampled on, doesn't matter by who, all of us should come together and write to our senators, our mayors, our governors, our law enforcement people, just to make sure that we stand up for each other because we are all Americans. Yes, we are. So that's really important. Second step is, just like we invited you to our homes, hopefully you can invite us to your homes. Yes? Yes. All right, good. Thank you. And good food? Yeah. There you go. Don't miss out that. Number 3, really important. That you came here, hopefully you enjoyed being here and socializing with the Muslims, so you can write down on the FaceTube or Facebook, right, that you met the Muslims and Muslims are good people, right? Can you do that? Come on, please. So these are some of the things, right? And along with that, there are so many projects the mosque is doing. We have the food drive, we have the blood drive, we have the clothing drive. So we can work together on the common platform of common humanity for projects which are beneficial to the whole community. So these are some of the ways that beyond the open house that we can work together for better communities, inshallah, God willing. All right? All right, with that being said, it's really important for us that there is so much misinformation out there about Islam and Muslims. So one of the reasons we are having this open house, besides the social gathering, is also to inform and educate that what does Islam stand for and what Islam does not stand for. It's so important. Because we believe that sometimes the fear of the unknown will make us to look at suspicion to our neighbors, to our colleagues, to the immigrants. But when we learn about what Islam is, who Muslims are, and learn from each other, we will find out that there are so many things in common between all of us. Yeah, you agree with that? Yes. Yeah. You know, so I'm a student of comparative religion. I have 300 Bibles in my collection. All right. And my wife is not happy with that at all. Right? The basement is full of them. But a really important lesson I learned when I read the Bible, the Quran, is that no less than 75% of the things in common between Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. So yes, we will always have differences. We may always have theological arguments, but there are more things in common that should unite us than things which are in uncommon that should disunite us, right? So work on the commonalities, let's make the world better place. Now here are some of the Muslims around the world. A Muslim can be from any faith, any background, race, nationality, or culture. A person can be Caucasian, African, Australian, Indian, Pakistani, Arab, African to be a Muslim. Doesn't have to be from India and Pakistan only, right? Looking like me all the time, or the Arab people. So anyone who declares that there is only one God and Muhammad is the messenger of God becomes a Muslim. Means they have to adhere to the 5 pillars, the 6 beliefs. There are 1.6 billion Muslims around the world, right? It's a big number. About 23% of the world population, they are Muslims. About 33% are our Christian friends, by the way, right? And about maybe 18% are our Hindu friends. There are 57 Muslim majority countries around the world. But let's come to the US, right? I mean, those who are, okay, how many of you have already been to an open house where I gave a presentation before? Oh, wow, okay. Be a good sport and laugh again. All right, so here is a quiz question that I gave before and I'm going to give again, right? When do you think Muslims came to the USA?
1560. 60.
There you go, she got the, is that the right answer? Yeah, there you go, she got the right answer. 1560s. So Islam is as old in the USA as Judaism and Christianity. Really important. You know, with all the bashing about the immigrants and all Muslim ban 102, 101. You know, we say that, you know, America was built by the immigrants. Starting from 1492 and onwards, starting from the slaves that they brought by force. You know, 30% of the slaves who were brought, they were Muslims. From the Muslim background, and they were the slaves who built the infrastructure of this country. You know, with all the Muslim bashing, the immigrant bashing, we have to thank the immigrants because look at this. The tallest building in the world at one time was made by a Muslim immigrant. Anyone knows his name, by the way? Yeah, Fazlul Khan from Bangladesh, right? He was an immigrant coming from there. How many of you watch YouTube besides you? Right? YouTube was founded by a Muslim, Javed Karim, whose dad was an immigrant. Right? How many of you love your iPhones? Yeah, we all do, right? Many of us do. Now, iPhone was invented by Steve Jobs, whose dad was a Muslim coming from Syria. Anyone loves ice cream cones? Yeah, we all do. Oh, there you go, hands are going up. All right. Ice cream cone was invented in 1904 by a Muslim immigrant coming from Syria again. So for all the Muslim bashing, the immigrant bashing, for what the immigrants have done, we would say that God bless the immigrants. Yes. These are some of the faces of Muslims in the USA. So as part of the faith of Islam, it teaches us in chapter 3, verse number 110, chapter 3, verse number 104, and many places, to be a Muslim, an assignment of a Muslim, besides praying 5 times and other rituals, is to make sure that we indulge in the society, we enjoin good, we forbid evil, and we better the society. And these are examples of some of those Muslims. You can see Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. You can see Keith Ellison, who became the very first Muslim in the U.S. Congress. Andre Carson. You have physicians. 50,000 Muslim physicians are here in the USA. Some of them could be your physicians, right? Yeah. 30% of the free clinics run in the USA are run by the Muslim physicians. Yes. So Muslims have contributed a lot because we are Muslims and we are also Americans. And this is our country and we want to make our country great. Yes? Very important, yes. Important. Now, how many of you have heard the word Allah before? Right? Many of you. So when we say the word Allah, we refer to the same God. So in Arabic language, the creator is called as Allah. You know, in Spanish language is what?
Dios.
Dios, right? And And in Norwegian language, it is God. In the Aramaic language, which was the language of Jesus, according to Encyclopedia Britannica, the name for God in Jesus' language was Ilah, Allah. About the same as the word Allah. So Allah is not a God of the Muslims or the God of the Arabs. It's the same creator who created all of us. So just to take away the notion that Muslims worship a different God, right? No, we have the same God. He created all of us, and just so in different languages we have different words. Now these are some of the attributes of the creator. We say that God or Allah is eternal. That means anyone who is eternal always existed, right? That means we say that God does not have any parents. I mean, we respect the beliefs of our Christian brothers and sisters. We say that God also does not have any children, sons and daughters and family. That God is one, God is unique, and He's the creator. He's the sustainer. I mean, we have delicious lunch. God does not need to, correct? He's sustaining humanity. He's sustaining the creation. We say that God is merciful, forgiving, powerful, wonderful attributes. But there is one important attribute of God, and that attribute is that God is a loving God. You know, the oxygen that we breathe, we don't have to buy it from any store, definitely not Kmart, right? God gave that to us for free. So that means love of God means God would like to help us, would like to guide us. So Islam says that for God to guide humanity, God does not come down and become a human being or an idol or part of the creation. God remains God, and God appoints prophets and messengers. And these are some of them. So the very first man, Adam, is the very first prophet in Islam. So here is the common story between Islam, Christianity and Judaism, is that when God created Adam and Eve, He commanded them that enjoy all the things. But do not go towards this tree. But somebody deceived them and they made the mistake. But here is a slight subtle difference between the Quranic story and the biblical story. So Islam says, the Quran says, that it was not the Eve who made the very first mistake. It was Adam and Eve, both they made the very first mistake. So equality in Islam starts from day one. Point number 2 is, now after they made the mistake, they realized that obviously they did something wrong. So they sincerely repented to God. You know, God, please forgive us. We made the mistake. With sincere repentance directly to God, it says in the Quran, chapter number 7, that God forgave their sins. That means according to the Islamic theology, their sins were not passed down to their sons and daughters and progeny or to us. God forgave them, but Islam believes in original goodness, original forgiveness. That every child is born with a good heart, clean slate, without any sin, without any blemish. So as humanity was increasing, God appointed prophet after prophet to different parts of the world. So in fact it says in the Quran, where is the copy of the Quran? So in fact it says in the Quran, chapter 16, verse number 36, that God appointed prophet and messengers to all the nations of the past, and their mission was to convey to their people about submission to one God. So submission to one God in Arabic is Islam. So that concept that you're absolutely submitting to one God, not worshipping a man, an idol or creation, but only one creator without any mediator, that concept, if you have to give one word in Arabic language, that is Islam. Right? So with that concept, with that important aspect, we say that all the prophets of God, they came to convey the message of submission to one God, which equals Islam, according to the Quran. So what is the name of a person who believes in God, or believes in Islam, by the way? Muslim, right? So we say that Adam was a Muslim, by the definition of the word that he submitted to one God. So were Noah and Abraham and Moses, and we consider Jesus as a prophet. And we consider him to be a Muslim, means submitted to one God. And then the last prophet, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Now, a really important aspect. Now, according to history and Islam, we say that some people, they believed in that theology, but some people moved away. And they started to dilute the oneness of God and started to worship idols, the sun, the moon, the creation. But God appointed prophet after prophet to bring these people back again, to only worship and submit to one God. And they came with that mission. So according to Islam, a person reaches paradise if they have the right belief, worshipping the Creator, submitting to Him, and follows the guidance which is given in the Quran and in the message of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Now, a person, if they keep on worshipping someone other than God and dilutes it and do not repent to God, then there are consequences according to Islam. You know, just like suppose when you were in junior high, all right? When if you don't come to class, if you don't obey the attendance policy, and if you don't obey the teacher, there would be consequences. So according to Islam too, if people do not have the right belief, do not obey God, and do not worship the proper way, then there would be consequences. And Islam does believe in the hellfire. But no Muslim is here to judge anyone, by the way, right? We respect your beliefs. And God's judgment would be fair, and God's judgment would be just. What will happen in the hereafter? Only God is going to be the one, the deciding factor. But this is the minimal criteria that God has given to us. All right. What you see up there are some of the prophets of Islam. I'm not sure from that seat if you're going to see all of them. Yeah, you're still able to? Good eyesight. There you go. And you would be surprised to find out that there's so much similarity out there. Look at this. You have the biblical names of the prophets, and then you have the Quranic or the Arabic names. You have Moses of the Bible, you have Musa of the Quran. Abraham, Ibrahim. Joseph, Yusuf. Jesus, Isa. David, Dawood, right? And these are all prophets who are also mentioned in the Quran with admiration, honor, and respect. Their miracles are mentioned. Their message is mentioned, the message of absolute oneness of God. So no Muslim can be a Muslim if we don't believe in any one of those prophets. That means for me to be Muslim, I have to believe in all the prophets. May they be Jesus, Moses, Abraham, doesn't matter. I cannot say that, since our Christian friends have claimed Jesus, let me just skip him. I can't do that. I have to believe in all of them and respect and admire each single one of them. In fact, I have two boys. One of them is named Abraham, right, for Ibrahim. Second one is named Yusuf for Joseph. So we respect to such a degree that we give the names of the prophets also to our children. What do you think happened in the year 610 in the Islamic context? There you go, Quran was revealed, right? Now, as Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was born in the year 570. So as he was growing up, he was just an ordinary person. But he was extraordinary in the sense that he was the most credible person in all of Arabia. Like nowadays, if our youth, our teenagers have to introduce each other, if they are new to each other, they may say that, I am in 9th grade, I play basketball, I am good in Pokemon or Minecraft, right? In the days of Muhammad, peace be upon him, when they used to introduce him, they used to say that this is our countryman Muhammad, and he's the most honest, and he's the most truthful of all of us. So those were the attributes the people gave him. So when he was born in the year 570, until the year 610, he was just a person, just a citizen. But then at 610, Angel Gabriel came, appointed by God, and that's when passages of the Quran started to be revealed. And you'll be surprised to find out that the very first word of the Quran that was revealed by God to humanity was the word read. Read, gain knowledge, contemplate, right? Reading, gaining knowledge. So Islam is so big on gaining knowledge. In fact, in the Quran, there are no less than 700 times God is saying to humanity to to contemplate, read, research. Do not just blindly believe just because your ancestors were believing and doing certain things. So in that way, Quran from the very beginning up until the end, it's really big upon gaining knowledge. And by gaining knowledge and implementing knowledge, you'll be surprised to find out that Muslims have contributed a lot all throughout history. For example, when we look at our smartphones and the computers and the projector, we may think that yes, these are the 21st century, 20th century inventions. But according to Carly Fiorina, who was a presidential candidate way back, right, last year, according to her, the Muslim mathematicians, when they invented algebra and algorithms, that math that laid the foundation to the computers and to the encryption. When we went to schools and colleges, when we went to the chemistry labs, you know, the flasks, the test tubes, those were invented, many of them by Muslim chemists by the name of Ibn Hayyan. Ibn Sina, he's called as the father of medicine. Right? So many contributions were done by the Muslim scholars and scientists, mathematicians, chemists and physicists. So it's really important that they all are going back to the Quran for their motivation and their inspiration. So let me try to wrap up now, right? Because somebody's standing up here. So these are the 6 major... No, it worked. There we go. So these are the 6 important beliefs in Islam. That we believe in the absolute oneness of God. We believe in angels that God has created. Like Angel Gabriel, whose job is to bring revelation from God to different prophets. We believe in all the prophets. Who did I say was the first and the last ones, by the way, according to Islam? Adam and Muhammad, right? Peace be upon them. We believe in all the books. I mean, you'll be surprised to find out that Muslims, it's an article of faith for Muslims to believe in the revelations that were given to Abraham and to Moses and to David and to Jesus and to Muhammad, peace be upon all of them. I mean, I cannot be a Muslim if I do not believe in those revelations that came to those prophets in their original forms. Then we believe that this life is a life of test and trial, and one day we have to die. Only God knows the day and the time and the place. But Islam says that we'll be brought back to life again, and God is going to judge us. How did you live your life? You know, just like there's an evaluation at the end of the semester, right? There's an evaluation according to Islam. And God would be judging us individually. And based upon the fair and the just judgment of God, people would be placed into paradise or into hellfire, and hope and pray that all of us go into paradise, right? And then we believe in the divine decree of God. All right, but let me end with the 5 pillars of Islam. How many of you know our guest, the 5 pillars, by the way? Without Googling it. Right? I'm watching. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Me?
Yes.
Okay, there's confession of faith, there's the, right, exactly. There's prayer 5 times a day.
There you go.
There's zakat. So there's...
Did you see my slides before?
There's Ramadan, and there's Hajj.
Wow, he got it. Give you a big hand. All right. Wonderful. Awesome, 5 for 5, you know, extra samosa, baklava, I'm not sure. Something for you. So it's really important for us that the very first pillar is to testify in the oneness of God and in the messengership of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Then we believe in praying 5 times. So Muslims, we pray 5 times a day. As our friend has mentioned, we have to wake up like 5:30 in the morning when all of you, some of you may be sleeping, right? We wake up that early in the morning, we pray the first prayer. Then the last one is before we go to bed. Giving charity is part of Islam. It's not just an option, it's an obligation. Islamic philosophy is that the poor people, they have a right on my wealth. If I don't give charity, 2.5% at least of my saved assets for 1 year, I'm committing a sin. Means the poor people, they have a right on my wealth, and God is testing me by giving some more wealth than some other people. Then we fast in the month of fasting, which is coming up the last week of May, right? Muslims are ready? 17 hours of fasting each day, right? No food, no drink, not even a drop of water goes inside us when we fast. From dawn, like about what time? 5 a.m. in the morning? About 5-ish in the morning, all the way up until what? 8 o'clock, right? Like close to 17 hours of fasting. So fasting, obviously, it creates us the self-discipline. It also creates the consciousness that how poor people may feel. And just in the USA, there are 50 million people who are below the poverty line. So we can place ourselves in their shoes, and then we can feel when we are hungry how people are feeling. So it's supposed to help us to reach out to humanity. Then last but not the least, we have the pilgrimage to Mecca. Once in a lifetime, a Muslim is obligated, if means allow, to go to pilgrimage. Avoiding maybe United flight. All right. So the message from today, and then we will take as many Q&A sessions would be, that at the end of the day, we are humans. There are 2.2 billion Christian friends around the world, right? And there are 1.6 billion Muslims around the world, 1.1 billion Hindus, and about atheist friends. You know, we are all humans at the end of the day, and we have commonality, common morality, common goodness. So if we all come together the way we are doing today, we can fight against bigotry, racism, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and we can make societies which are built upon morality, built upon justice and unity, and built upon peace for all. And if we do that coming together under God's guidance, not only we can make America great, we can make the whole world great. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sabil Ahmed, for that. I hope that helped all of you guys gain a greater insight to the religion I follow along. High school student who wears a hijab to school, I find that like a lot of my peers want to ask me questions about Islam, but they're kind of hesitant to. So after like a lot of prodding and a lot of convincing, I eventually convinced them to actually ask me those questions. And I've received a lot of questions, you know, like questions like, why do you wear the hijab? Why do you pray 5 times a day? Are you hiding Voldemort under your hijab? You know? But today I invite all of you guys to submit questions. And there should be no sense of hesitation because this is a very open forum. So we wanted to make it as convenient as possible for you guys to submit questions. So there are 3 ways to do so. One, on your sheet you will find a QR code in the corner. So since we have a clearly very tech-savvy audience with using FaceTube and whatnot, you might either scan your smartphone if you have a QR code scanner and submit a question online, or you could go old school, use the pen and paper that was given to you, and we will have people collecting the questions. Could you please wave the boxes so they can see? Right there and right there. And we will also invite you guys to approach the mic and ask these questions if you would like to do so. So while you're collecting your thoughts and trying to, formulate whatever questions you may have, I'm going to briefly introduce the panelists that we have today. So first, as you've already met, we have Dr. Sabil Ahmed, who just gave this wonderful presentation to you. Second, we have Sheikh Shaheen, who graduated from Northern Illinois University with a Bachelor in Industrial Engineering. He studied Sharia at Fiqh al-Fatah Institute in Damascus, and he is a current resident scholar at the Islamic Society of Northwest Suburbs, while also pursuing his master's degree in Sharia in the American Islamic College. Next, we have Sister Samira, who is a professor in economic science. She teaches macroeconomics and microeconomics at Harper College and Elgin College. Sister Samira is an active ISMS member with over 18 years of experience in teaching Quran and Arabic and Islamic studies. She runs the Al-Ihsan Summer School, the Al-Ihsan Quranic or Arabic School, and since 2013, she has been tutoring refugee kids from Syria and Africa in math, English, and science. So while we get everything set up here, I also want to put out another reminder. we gave you guys a feedback form. At the bottom of the feedback form, we have this entry for a raffle prize. So I would encourage you guys, yep, right there. So I would encourage you guys to fill that out, try it out, maybe you'll win a raffle prize. And we will also be having people collect that during the Q&A session. So with that, I invite you guys to submit questions.
As you're writing the question, it's important that you ask questions here, then going home and asking questions from Mr. Google.
Okay, so we received some questions through the QR scanner. With the new Trump administration.
Well, definitely I want to thank President Trump because with the new laws, the Muslim ban and etc., he created a lot of interest where people came out asking about Islam. And the more we ask and the more we visit each other, houses of worship, the more we appreciate each other, the more we know each other. Our biggest enemy is ignorance, when we don't know about each other, and then we fear each other, because it's a human nature to be afraid of that which is unknown. So today is a great gathering, and it's happening in this era of President Trump. So everything has a good side to it. Thank you.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks so much for doing this event. My name is Cindy. I live here in Palatine. I'm an ecologist. I very much care about the planet and Mother Nature, trees, birds, all of it. I'm just curious, kind of a two-part question. What are the teachings of the Islamic faith towards the environment and our planet? And then secondly, I'm not trying to be critical of anybody in the audience here, but one of the things that concerns me throughout my whole career is I used to work with a lot of young people that are very angry and frustrated that the planet is being ignored and abused for profit. And in my heart, I believe that some of that anger and frustration comes because, of course, first off, people are so removed from the planet. We're not farmers anymore. We don't gain our living or our food, that easily from the land. But also, I just kind of feel that young people are maybe being pulled into extremist movements because they've lost that connection to the planet. Does that make sense? Yes. And I'm concerned as to what any of the faiths are doing to get young people that feeling of hope. I myself, I get most of my solace and peace from being outside and instead of human-made facilities. Thanks.
For the first part, Islam teaches us that everything has a soul. So there's nothing that is worthless. The stone, it has its own kind of life. The trees, everything in the environment. So we need to be sensible to everything. And we need to use everything to the minimum that we need. And we need to be vigilant. We need to be cautious, not to overuse. Actually, the Quran warns us against waste and overspending in all matters. Even when it comes to preparing ourselves to prayer, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, tells us not to overuse water, even if we are making ablution on the side of a river. Even if you have a river, you don't use more water than what's necessary for you to wash up. You use minimum because this environment is not ours. God put it for everyone, including us and animals and all of God's creatures. And we all have equal access to it. So Islam warns us about against abusing the environment and misusing its resources. Go ahead.
I know you might maybe able to get without the microphone. Assalamu alaikum. Just one, I wanted to add one more thing, and it's regarding the environment. Rasulullah he said that the teaching we have is even when the day of judgment is like starting, that we see everything like we have to, if we have like a plant in our hand, better to plant it. That's how much importance we give to the environment. Basically to everything, any living or non-living around us, we have to take care. That's how much we care about the environment.
Can you take this off? Okay, first of all, salam alaikum. My name is Mary. I am a retired teacher. I taught 35 years in Sharia. And in my classroom, it was like World War III, because we had countries, children representing countries that didn't get along with each other. But in my classroom, we were all friends. And I learned a lot from my children. I had a lot of children from India, a lot of children from Pakistan, every part of the world, and they taught me a lot. I just have a question, because it's always in my mind, because one little boy, Yazid, he came up to me and he said, Ms. Lee, do you have 7 heavens? And I said, no, but I know the sayings, I'm in 7th heaven. So I don't know the comparison between, because I only know 1 heaven, and where he came from, there were 7 of them. So, and thank you so much for today, I appreciate it. I'm from St. Colette Church, and Father Michael invited us to come here, and I'm so appreciative of you guys. Thank you so much.
Just to address the 7th heaven, the number 7 in Arabic means Allah, okay? So if I were to say, oh, we got a lot of guests, I might just say 70 or 700 or something like this. And God told us about 7 heavens. And He told us that the lowest heaven is that which is beautified with all of those stars. So when they tell us now in astronomy that we have 256 billion stars, whatever, and this immense universe, all of this is the lowest heaven, And then there is the 2nd heaven and the 7th heaven. So it's a word that we do not know exactly the nature of it, but God is telling us how spacious is this universe and how big is His creation. And when we study and try to learn more about heavens by building those telescopes and looking in space and learning more about the outside world, we understand how great is the Creator and how manifest is the Maker. Glory be to Him. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dawood, and my question is, what is the role or the importance of Arabic language in Islam?
Every prophet, God supported every prophet He sent with a miracle. The miracle is something out of the norm. So for old Egyptians and for the children of Israel who were living in Egypt, magic was a big thing, and it's an art that they mastered so well. But then God gave Moses a miracle that the first believers were the magicians themselves, because they saw with his stick, when it turned out into a snake and ate their robes that they made look like snakes, they saw something different from their game, something different from their magic. And they were impressed, they understood that this is a man of God, and they believed. For the children of Israel and the Palestinians in Palestine, they were number 1 in medicine. So God gave His prophet Jesus the power to say in the name of God, and he will wipe on a person who's leprous, he will be healed. He will come to a dead person and he say in the name of God, and that person will wake up. Something no doctor, no health institute can do till today. Now, the last miracle is a message for every human being for the rest of time. So God chose this message, this book. So we don't come in the 21st century and say, I did not see a miracle. No, there is a miracle for us. Go and check this book and see from literacy point of view. It's a unique Arabic text. All of those who study Arabic in their PhDs in Arab universities, they go and memorize parts of the Quran regardless of their background, just to get the strength in this language, because it's been challenged for the last 1400 years. People come try to imitate a text like the Quran, and no one can do that. It's a class by itself. So even if you go to a university, you will find a Christian Arab reading the Quran to improve his Arabic style. A Jewish Arab, an atheist Arab will read the Quran, so he improves or she improves her language style. And God chose this language to be the mold for the last message. For the last message that will be easy translated and accessible for the rest of the world. The Quran is translated to almost every language in the world, but what you're looking at is that translation of the Quran. And sometimes it's good job, sometimes not so good in translation. But the language itself, I urge everyone to try to look and try to listen to it in Arabic and then read it. And because the last miracle of Prophet Muhammad is the message itself, so God chose for it the language that fits best this miracle. Thank you.
Just to continue on that same wonderful answer, you know, God commands Muslims to pray 5 times a day. So when we pray, we don't pray in English, we pray in Arabic language. And that's how Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he has taught us, and generation after generation, we have been doing that. 5 times a day, the formal worship that we do it in Arabic language. Number 2, compared to any other language, Arabic language has remained protected. You know, when we read the KJV version of the Bible, the King James, right? Many of the words is hard for us to understand because they're way past like 500 years old, correct? But for the Arabic language, the language has remained mostly standard. Number 2. Number 3, as the Sheikh has mentioned, the Quran itself is being written in Arabic language as a lasting miracle for all of humanity. So really quickly, you know, in the time of Muhammad, peace be upon him, he did not know how to read and write. But when the Quran came to him, some of the non-believers, they used to not believe in the Quran. They used to mock at him. So he said, in fact the Quran says, that if you don't believe the Quran is from God, why don't you produce something like the Quran? And those people who used to mock, they used to be the Shakespeares of the Arabic language. So when he made that challenge, the Quran makes a challenge, they were not able to come up with something like the Quran. Then God reduced the challenge to 10 chapters like the Quran, to make something like that. And then to 1 chapter, they were not able to. Quran contains prophecies in there. For example, it says in chapter 15, verse number 9, God is saying, Inna nahnu nazzalna zikra wa inna lahu lahafizun. That it is God who has sent this revelation, the Quran, it is God who is going to protect it. Protect it from it getting lost, corrupted, altered, or revised. So you'll be amazed to find out that from the time the Quran was revealed, 7th century up until now, not a single word, a letter, passage has been changed. Right? In fact, there are now living close to 10 million Muslims who memorize the whole Quran in Arabic, from first page to the last page. Right? And in this room we have right now some people who memorize the whole Quran, by the way. There you go. Can you please stand up? There you go. Memorize the whole Quran. Yes. And then Quran has, some of you who are from math, science background, you would be amazed again to find out that in the Quran there are no less than 500 facts about science in the Quran, about how the universe began. In fact, it says in chapter 21, verse number 30, that do not the unbelievers see the heavens and the earth, they were joined together like in one primordial mass, and God set it apart. And that's kind of alluding to the Big Bang theory of 13.8 billion years ago. Quran speaks about the revolution of the planets and of the celestial bodies. Chapter 21, verse number 33. Quran speaks about the shape of the earth as being round. Chapter 79, verse 30. Speaks about the expansion of the universe. Chapter 51, verse 47. So 500 scientific facts and 0 errors in the Quran. Right? And this is all written in Arabic language in the 7th century without any modern inventions that we have. So all of these makes Quran a lively language and Quran as being a word of God as we believe.
Thank you. In order to make sure we answer as many questions as possible.
Actually, I am planning on being a theology major so I can teach religious tolerance among all religions. So my actually question, and it's a really basic question, why the separation of prayer spaces between men and women? Prayer spaces, like you have a distinctive room for men, and I guess you have a distinctive room for women. Is that overall, or is that?
I have to say that this is not mentioned in the Quran that we need to separate between the men and the women. It just came as tradition or custom. But the only thing that's mentioned in the Quran and from the teaching of Rasulullah, our prophet, is that the men, they're going to be in the front rows and the women to be just behind them. Like back to the era of the Rasulullah, our prophet, we didn't have any separation. Obviously, we're all in like an open area, and like I said, just the men, they're going to be in the front, and the women, they're going to be right behind them. That means this separation, it wasn't like prescribed or mentioned in the Quran.
So Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the mosque that he built, there used to be segregation, means men pray in one area, women pray behind them, right? Now, separation does not mean that somebody is inferior or superior to each other. There may be a wisdom behind it. You may have seen, some of you may have seen Muslims pray, yes? When we pray, we stand shoulder to shoulder, literally touching our shoulders to each other, right? I mean, just imagine a men, women, non-family people, it will not be comfortable for each other to stand shoulder to shoulder like that. So there is a wisdom that our focus when we pray in a place like this should only be to God. So there is wisdom behind it. So separation does not mean inferior, superior. In fact, there is a separation in the Greek Orthodox churches, in some ultra-Orthodox Jewish synagogues. That's separation. Separation, purity of the thought, not that somebody is superior or inferior.
I'm looking at the obligation to pray 5 times a day, and I'm thinking about my doctor, who is a very accomplished professional. And how does one who accepts the requirements of being a Muslim balance service to God, when you have times to pray that are, it's kind of difficult to be able to do that and still be able to carry on as a professional doctor, for example?
Maybe you will discover that how easy it is, and a lot of my friends are physicians, and they manage to do that without any hesitation. Prayer does not take a lot of time. Prayer can take 5-10 minutes. It will be more like a break. Yes.
Let me answer the question.
And he's a physician, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question. I'm a physician. I was a faculty member at University of Minnesota. When I joined the faculty, I told my professor I would meet 20 minutes on Fridays and 5 minutes every day in the afternoon. They were so gracious. It was not difficult to go to my office and pray for 10 minutes and come back. It's all you have to do is to make an intention. If you make the intention, God will fulfill your desire.
Thank you so much.
I have no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Samir.
So just to add really quickly, right? Just like we eat about 3 times a day, maybe sometimes more, and we don't say, we are busy, let me skip. I mean, when we have a bite, we just take a bite. In the same way, we connect with God that many times. So we are always conscious that God is there, He's watching us, let's follow His guidance. So we do it, and it takes like really few minutes. Ma'am, you're here, yes.
Okay. My name is Rochelle, and I have a comment and then maybe a question. When all this devastation began, we are really all a part of immigration and refugees. All of us have it in our background. We held a rally at our synagogue, and I thought to myself, what can I do? Unless we stand up, speak up, and do something, nothing will ever, ever, ever be done. So we started doing things, and we've become very close with some of your members. And it's the greatest thing, and we're mentoring a Syrian family, which is the most wonderful thing. And what you've done, what you've done today is just amazing, bringing together all of us to be educated to so much of your knowledge and sharing it with us. And I thank you.
Thank you.
The role of the woman in Islam, it's not different from any the role of women in any other religion. The first role we see it as if we have children, obviously we have to take care of the children and teaching them the religion, which is make them becoming a good citizens. And I mean here, I don't know how to put it. It's so definitely yes. Like I said, it's just to take care of our children. I don't know if you can just help me. It's just
okay. So it's really important. Before Islam came to Arabia, women were treated like property. They didn't have any rights. But after Islam came, Islam gave women the dignity and it gave women the humanity. And it lifted women up equality to a man. Really important. In chapter 33, verse number 35 of the Quran speaks about that. In fact, Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said that men and women, you are equal in the eyes of God, right? You are like twins, and twins are equal. Before Islam came, no rights, right? But after Islam came, these are the humongous rights Islam gave to our sisters, our women. In the state of Illinois, not until 1861, a married lady can go out and purchase a property, not until 1861. And you have to be married to do that, by the way, right? To purchase property. Islam gave women, Muslim women, that right in the 7th century. Not until 1920 in this country, a woman had the right to say in the political process. 7th century for the Muslim women. When I got married, so we went, me and my wife, we went to the court. And the clerk asked us, asked my wife, what should we change your last name to? My wife became angry. Why would you like to change my name? Change his name. Right? Islam gave women the right to keep their maiden name. Islam gave women the right to gain education. It became an obligation for men and women to gain education, according to Muhammad, peace be upon him. To just such a degree that Islam empowered women that the oldest continuous university on the face of this earth, according to Guinness Book of World Records, it was made by a Muslim lady. Yes, wearing the hijab. In the year 859 in the country of Morocco, the University of Qarawiyyin. And in the last year's Olympics, by the way, there were no less than 16 women wearing the hijab who won gold medal, silver medal, and bronze medal. And that is the empowerment Islam gives to women.
Thank you. The next question is describe. So like maybe how you pray 5 times a day, what's the process like?
Yes, those prayers, there is time interval for every prayer. So at specific time, we have time service. So the service, for example, here, for the first prayer, it's listed here. So 5:15, for example, is the congregational prayer. So right here, if you come 5:15 in the morning, you will join us for the first prayer. And our doors are open. And our hearts are open for you, and we love you all. And we have 5 daily prayers, but a Muslim can pray anywhere, at home, in their schools, in their offices, in their clinics, whatever it is. We have the main sermon on Friday, and Islam teaches us that worship beyond those prayers. Everything we do, any good deed we do is a worship. Islam tells us your smile in the face of your fellow human being is a charity. Removing a harm from the sidewalk in your neighborhood is a charity. Whatever you can do to improve the environment, to help a neighbor, for your country, all of those are acts of worship. And God will be happy with you for doing that, and He will reward you for doing that, just like He will reward you for paying charity or making your prayers or any act of worship. Okay.
Any justification behind it?
Okay, so when our president,
Not my president.
No, it's highly offensive when Mr. Trump keeps on saying radical Islamic terrorism.
Right.
It's so offensive for Muslims, by the way, because radicalism and terrorism, these are acts. They can be done by people of any faith or no faith. Islam does not have a monopoly on radicalism. Number two, really important, that me as a Muslim, I want to condemn any person, any Muslim who is doing act of radicalism. You know, when they asked us Muslims, how come you're not condemning enough? We would say in reply that Muslims have become professional condemners. Yes. Right? We have been condemning for like many decades, by the way. We are professional. If you want to come, you can. Yes. As an American, I would like to condemn any act done by American, which is terrorism. So terrorism is not just some Muslim killing some non-Muslim, which we all should condemn. 406,000 shootings, killing in the last 15 years. And every single one of them is an act of terrorism. And we all should be condemning it because each life is equal, each blood is sacred, and each soul is equal to all of us. So we should all be condemning it.
Thank you for hosting this event. It's a wonderful event. My question really is, can you explain the difference between Shia and Sunni?
Yes.
Because we hear that all the time. And explain if they actually are against each other.
Well, it's mainly a political difference. In Islam, there is no Shia or Sunni. There is Islam. And at the time, after the Prophet's death, there was a debate if the son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, his name is Ali, if he should be the next leader for the community or not. And those who were thinking in the same mentality of monarchy and thinking a king would have a child, or if not, a brother or a nephew or a cousin or son-in-law to follow, those cultures, they were going through this maturity, and they were thinking that his son-in-law should be the next leader, while the teaching of the Prophet was clear that the most suitable for the job should be the one in charge, regardless of his background. And he looked at African or dark-skinned person. He says, he is from us, the family of Ahlul Bayt. He looked at a Persian person, he said he is from us, and so forth. So he made it clear that those races do not make a difference. But those who chose that line, thinking that the Prophet family should be always the leaders, and that they are infallible, those are the Shia Muslim. And they, to my knowledge, they are about 5% of the Muslim population. The rest of Muslims, the 95% who are called Sunnis, because Sunni means follow the teaching of the Prophet, the Sunnah, teaching of the Prophet. They believe that the most credible person for any profession should be in charge. And when we want to elect our leadership, the president, the prime minister, or whatever, those positions has to be picked by election or by a process that does not belong to which tribe you come from or which family you come from, but the most capable, most professional person for the job. So that is the roots of it. Of course, with ignorance, a lot of people take sides and go to ways to make differences. But in foundation, they all believe in one God, and that Prophet Muhammad is the last prophet. Okay? You're welcome.
The youth, perhaps?
Yeah, so whatever violent actions are going on,
Sure.
what actions have we taken as a community and as Muslims in general?
Sure. So, when we say that ignorance usually leads for people to commit these acts. So lots of education is being done using the platform of the mosque and the families and the schools, Sunday school, weekend schools. Many times the imam who stands there for the Friday sermon, we should live in peace and harmony. How Islam is against radicalism or against the killing of innocent life, doesn't matter, there is no excuse for it. So we are doing a lot of educational seminars, and from sermons we are doing it, right? Number one. Number two, it will really help for our Muslim youth and Muslims in general to fight radicalism and to fight terrorism. Doesn't matter any way, shape or form. All of us are involved to combat it, by the way. When we have to look at radicalism, we have to look at the cause of radicalism, so important. Because there is a action and reaction in all things. Okay? So if we see a reaction, then we have to see the cause for it. The cause for radicalism, especially in the Middle East, is that people are really angry. They're angry because when they see dictators are ruling over them, they don't have free choices, and foreign powers are also coming and occupying and supporting the dictators. There was these two gentlemen, they came on Yahoo News, and they were drone operators. They came and they testified that 95% of the intended targets, we missed those targets. And that means they are going and landing on innocent people, on families, women, children, farmers. And then we think, how come people are angry? So all of us are in this together. We have to make pressure, we have to put pressure on our government that we change the policies. We have to be fair, we have to be just, because all of us are human. We have to be fair with all the countries. Once we take care of our foreign policy, these things are going to go away. Before 2003, there was not a single suicide bombing in the history of Iraq. After we invaded, look what happened to it, right? So when we speak about these groups who are out there, I would say that these groups are an extreme reaction to our extreme injustice in the form of foreign policy. So if we have to take care of radicalism, all of us are involved in it. And that's the solution.
But I had this a comment from a great scholar. He was like, it's not about, we're denouncing it, but we don't have a voice. We're not controlling the media, and that's the thing, and you can see it. The media, they're just going to show you what they want to, the message that they want you to see, and mostly the message that they show you is like, obviously, that Islam is a synonym of terrorism. And here, we do have also the problem of communication, the media. We need, I wish and I hope that we had our own channel. I don't know if we can work on that. Also, we can invite everyone around the world to see it, and where we're gonna really talk about the real Islam and the real teaching of Islam.
Also, people have come up to me in like high school and have asked me personally to like explain attacks or try to denounce Islam itself, but I also invite you to think why I have a responsibility or why Muslims have a responsibility to do so, right? So like, I'm just trying to go to school, get an education, I'm trying to lead my life as peacefully as possible. So before you ask anyone of like a different group, you know, why did so-and-so, like why did someone shoot, like have the shooting in the school? You know, you can't expect people like me or Muslims that are being very peaceful and following the practice of Islam to answer those questions, right? So I just want you to invite you guys to think about that as well. Okay, moving on. There are lots of questions related to hijab, which is the headscarf that we wear. Could you guys explain the reason behind it, the concept of modesty? Maybe I could tag along and answer something. I started wearing hijab before entering 9th grade, during my freshman year of high school. I've gotten lots of questions like, did your parents force you to wear this? You know, so-and-so, stuff like that. But in fact, my parents did not force me at all to wear this. It was my personal choice. In fact, my dad was a little worried that I'd get bullied or that people would like call me terrorist or something like that. So he kind of like encouraged me to strongly think about it before I did. But then by choice, I decided to. And I mean, I've obviously been treated differently sometimes. You know, I've been called racial slurs. But I think that goes in part by recognizing that ignorance is not bliss. It's not even an option. But I think that's why I took it up, if the panelists would like to expand on that.
Yeah, that's true. Like personally, I didn't wear my scarf till I had my first child. I was around 29. I'm not going to give you my son's age. How old are you? But definitely, you know, it was a conviction from me that it kind of freaked me out. I don't have to worry about my, look, because I want the people to see me as a person. Okay, we as women, we keep like complaining we want to be equal to men, right? But to be equal to men, when I go to work, or I want everyone to see me equal to men. And don't look at me as a woman just for by beauty as a woman, as an object, right? But at the same time, we're doing completely the opposite by showing up like dressing not modestly. Now, how could you expect someone to respect you if you're not going to dress up modestly and to keep like the self-respect? I have to say this. My son was taking karate classes, and his coach at one time was just chatting, and he asked me this question: Mr. Shakir, why are you wearing this scarf? I was like, you know, it's just out of self-respect. So people, they're gonna see me the way I am as a person. And he was, at one point he was like, yes, that's true. I am a father of 2 daughters. And one day I had, my daughter, she was going out. By the time she got to, I used to leave the house by the door. And I looked at her, I was like, why are you dressed up that way? And she was like, no, I'm gonna friends. He was like, no, this is not the way. That's just asking anyone who sees you, especially the boys, you're just saying, see, I'm available. I go like, that's why we're trying like to be really wear the hijab or dress up modestly, especially just for the self-respect. We want the man that we're all the time, like I said, fighting them, we want to be equal. We want really to be equal to them.
Good, very good answer, right? Can I just add really quickly on that, really important. You know, women wear hijab. By the way, you guys look so good for wearing the hijab. You are, you do, right? You do. Women wear hijab for the same reason we all wear clothes. We wear clothes, we just don't go out just like that, right? We wear clothes because of modesty, right? So God gave that injunction in the Quran, chapter 24, verse number 30, that the concept of modesty is really big. But hijab is not the only, or the clothing is not the only modest way that Islam wants us to live our lives. Islam is big upon modesty of our eyes, modesty of our ears, our limbs. In fact, Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said that that say something good or remain silent, right? I would say that if all the married couples, if they live that commandment, how many marriages could be saved, right? So hijab, the concept of hijab is modesty, that is to preserve chastity within the society. But it's important that hijab is also there in the Bible too. In 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse number 5 and 6. Christian ladies or Bible believers, they're also supposed to cover themselves, especially when they're praying. Mary, the mother of Jesus, when we see her depiction, she's always modestly covered. And all our sisters are Marys and Catholic nuns. So modesty, chastity, and obeying God's commandments. I'm not sure who's next.
I just wanted to say, I think we all have a responsibility in this country to fight terrorism. It's not your responsibility to fight it. I think we all have a responsibility to fight violence. In terms of Islam, I'm an Episcopalian, and as a Christian, I say this frequently to anyone who says something to me about Islam. Any Christian who can possibly stand there and say something about the divisions of Islam really needs to look in the mirror, because you can't get 5 Christians together in a room to agree on anything. They have obviously not taken Christian theology. But what I really wanted to say today is both to thank you for this forum, but also, as your neighbors, to ask you to keep, we all have a large battle to do politically, because some really ghastly things have happened in this country. We have approximately 3 years and, 3 years and about 9 months.
You're in error.
Next year, we have some major work to do to start changing our Congress. But those are battles for all of us in this country to face. But what I would like to say to you as our neighbors is I hope you will keep our emails from the RSVPs that we sent you. And if you have problems in this community, as your neighbor, I hope you will let us know.
Yeah.
It truly matters to us, and I don't want to hear about this on the news. I want to know, and we want to be here for you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tara, and I am a follower of East Al-Masih. Some of my very deepest friendships are with Muslim women. They've taught me so much about hospitality, genuine friendship, sacrifice. I wanted to comment in regards to the hijab and modesty. My Muslim friends have taught me so much over these past 15 years in regards to modesty. My daughter is 25 years old, and from the time that she was 14, my Muslim friends commented on the fact, they said, why is it that she doesn't dress? Why is it that you don't dress like many of the Christian women that we see? You're modest. I just want to commend you for maintaining that in your religion, in your culture, because I think that it's something that we've lost in our American culture. I agree that it helps to protect marriages. I think that as women, we bear a responsibility to not be a stumbling block for our brothers. So I just want to say that just through my friendships, I think now I tend to view this subject through Muslim eyes. So I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you so
so much. So we're going to have to conclude the Q&A session. There are lots of questions that have gone unanswered, but we will make sure to answer those and we will post it up on the Islamic Society of Northwest Suburbs website. So please check it out there. If you would like to get informed in the meantime, I would strongly encourage you to talk to a Muslim, talk to multiple Muslims. Try not to seek out all your information from the internet. We know the internet or FaceTube or YouTube or everything is not always trustworthy. And if you have any questions about like hijab or my experiences like a teenager or any of the panelists, we'd be willing to answer them later. Is there anything else? Okay, awesome. So in order to conclude the event, I will invite Dr. Kader Hussein Khan, who is the past president of the Islamic Society of Northwest Suburbs. He has key advisory roles and has guided the ISNS administration in preparing new leaders. He is involved with several domestic and global religious organizations, and he heads the Zakat Committee of CIOGC, which is the Council of Islamic Organizations of Greater Chicago. So I will pass the mic on to him, and it's been an honor to host all of you guys. Thank you.
Wow, what a session. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most merciful, the beneficent. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings of God be upon you all. My dear brothers and sisters in faith, I first of all thank you all for coming. I think you got various points of view, but they all point to the same thing that all prophets of God brought. And this is a continuation of the promise that God made when he sent Adam and Eve down on earth, saying, from time to time my guidance will be coming to you. Those who follow that will have nothing to fear. And this is what we are trying to do the best way possible. Three of the teachings of the Holy Quran are that he created us in tribes and nations so that we may get to know each other, not to make them as a point of difference or argument or conflict. So in that spirit we are all here. I thank our Creator and I thank you all who have come in that spirit, and we need to continue to do that. Another message in the Holy Quran is that always cooperate in acts of virtue, where the beneficiaries are other human beings. So in that spirit you have come here, so we would like to extend to you our hand of cooperation in everything that is going to help humanity. And also everything that will help in increasing our consciousness of God. Allah says in the Holy Quran, Ta'awanu ala al-birri wa taqwa. So we have to cooperate with that. These are the two main directions that are given to us by our Creator, and we in that spirit are very happy to see you all come here and join us. And we have heard a lot about our religious duties, 5 times a day, prayer and all that. Those are all incumbent upon us, but they are to prepare us for an intended role in this world. And that role is to help us become more obedient to God. And His guidance is where the salvation lies. So the examples that are given are there to prepare us for that role. And one thing I would mention, our Prophet, peace be upon him, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, said, one person asked him, "O Prophet, how can I make my faith the best?" He said, "Be of service to others." So these are all things that prepare us, but the ultimate goal is we create a better society. We create a more helping each other, cooperative society, a more obedient society to the commandments of God. And in that spirit, we are all here. I thank you all for coming. And regarding the 5 daily prayers, I wanted to see if I can introduce our Hafiz Yaqub Sharif, who leads our all 5 daily prayers. So from 5:15 until the last one, he comes for every prayer. And for Friday prayer, our Imam Sheikh Shaheen, who is in the panel, he leads the prayer. I thank all of the pastors, the rabbis, and all the people from different churches who have come here, and all of you. And we would like, because this is the only way If we do not know each other by personal contact, we will know it through the media. And you know what will that mean? So I will make a short dua, just short supplication. O Allah, O God, who created us, help us become good individuals, obedient to your commands, and help us demolish the walls of division and misunderstanding. Help us to come closer and cooperate with each other in building a better society. Thank you again for coming.
Ellen Browser? Brower.
Ellen Brower.
Is Ellen Brower here?
No.
No, okay, so we'll pick the next one. So we have 8 prizes, so be patient.
This is Cheryl Vanden Dolder.
So it's a apple villa breakfast from ISNS.
This is Jack Sturgeon.
Congrats.
Okay, who is next?
One last in, I think we have a couple of.
Bob Ryan, R-E-I-N.
Oh, Bob is here. Congrats, Bob.
I better go down at the bottom. Okay, this one is Bruce Fryer.
Congrats, Bruce Fryer. So now we move on to the second box.
Oh, there were 2 apples.
Shake it well with Brother Yunus. This will be dinner at Magiano's. Oh,
there's no name on this one. So anybody can claim it.
Except for Father Uncle, of course.
Okay, this one is Jean Dieden, D-I-E-D-E-N. Jean? They're gone.
I really appreciated you opening your home of faith to all of us in the community so that we may learn rather than rely on misinformation that's spread elsewhere. And it was very lovely to meet so many people here who are so open and loving, and to hear, you know, your truth in the world. So thank you.
For the event, it was very informative, and I enjoyed being here with all of the people of this community. Thanks.
A friend of mine invited me to come. She had read about this in the Daily Herald, and actually we've had conversations about learning about other religions, and so I thought it was an excellent opportunity. I enjoyed it very, very much. It was very informative, and I hope to continue these types of open houses. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you very much for a very informative and wonderful afternoon. A lot of my questions were answered. I was happy to be a part of this, and I'm very thankful for my friend that she asked me to come. So again, thank you. There were wonderful speakers, and I truly do appreciate the friendship, and again, very happy that I came. Thank you.
It was so wonderful to be here today and to learn so many good things about Islam and our neighbors in Palatine. Thank you for your hospitality.
Thank you.
My name?
My name is Rafiq Patai. I'm the president of ISNS. I just want to thank all the people who came for today's event. We had more than 200 people come here today from all walks of life, pastors from different organizations. And we had a fantastic crew who arranged the program today. And we hope to continue this program in the future with other masjids and also with other religious organizations shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Urdu Times. We welcome, today was a great day at ISNS. We did an open house, Mosque open day. We invited a lot of clergy and surrounding public officials. We covered almost the whole neighboring Rolling Meadows, Palatine, Schaumburg, Buffalo Grove. Many people showed up today. We actually, the weather was bad. We were thinking low turnout, but I think there's a lot of interest in American non-Muslims about us. I feel very happy about it. There were a lot of questions today, lot of questions. We couldn't actually, we didn't have time to cover all the questions. And there were, apart from questions, very good comments about Muslims. I think ISNS will continue to engage with other faiths, and we welcome everybody here anytime. My name is Abdul Javed. I am the Director for Outreach and Interfaith from ISNS. Please do reach out to me if you have any questions, and welcome to ISNS.
Thank you.